We appreciate
He start laughing. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Underrated. Don't spill the tea, spill the truth. I am Walt J with co-host Melanie and co-host Cara. And today's topic is a good one, people. False narratives, perception, reputation, and the stories people create about us. Miss Cara, that was a good topic that you chose this week.
I appreciate that. You took it a little further than what I did. I mean, yeah. Before we get into this topic, let's go into social media land. What's going on in the T part of social media? Right, Mel?
I'll start it off with the happenings in the city.
Ooh,
One of the happenings, Mississippi has a pro basketball that they are recruiting for. So tryouts will be in June and July, and the team is called Mississippi Silverbacks. It's a pro basketball team. I just saw this morning. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't hear about this. And tryouts is at Kurt's Gymnasium. I'm not sure where that is, but that's one of the happenings. That's interesting. The other thing that I saw was that the Hilton Hotel in Jackson is closing. It is up for auction. It did not say, I don't think I saw how much it is up for auction, but the Hilton has been on County Line Road for a very, very long time.
there we go.
One of the other happenings, of course, they are advertising season ticket sales for JSU, and currently they're at 4,700 out of 10,000 season tickets being sold before the season starts. And then the next thing that I saw was that Michelle Obama will be back at the Essence Festival on July the 3rd. And I also saw that Mr. Christopher Maurice Brown received an honorary PhD, and I think it was for arts, music. I can't remember what it was for, so I'm not going to quote that one. But he did receive an honorary degree. So, yeah, that's my social media news.
Shout out to Chris Brown, honorary doctorate.
Yeah,
I guess he gonna be the doctor with what's her name, Shane Brown, honorary.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Well, I'm just gonna talk about the older lady that unfortunately passed away from fighting at Tim Horton coffee place. There was discrepancy, I guess, from her order, and she went inside, and she was talking to one of the managers, and then another manager came, and what I saw from the video was very disturbing. But it was here's the go. We're supposed to respect our elders, right? But our elders need to do a little bit better in respecting too. But what I didn't appreciate is the fact that she lost her life. Regardless of the fact, somebody shouldn't lose their life at all. But with that matter. So what I saw is nobody de-escalated the situation, and if they didn't de-escalate the situation, she would still be alive. But from the video, what I saw the young lady push, and then that got the older woman to push, and then what happened after that? Then the older lady pushed her in the face, and then unfortunately the young lady started fighting her, and I mean beating her down. And then unfortunately the older lady, I think she had a heart attack due to the severe of the beating. But nobody won to me in this situation because we lost a life. But I still think that the young lady should have put her hands. Somebody should have been a adult and de-escalated the situation. Me coming from a manager background, I would have de-escalated the situation and send that lady on her way to get her coffee or whatever, and probably offer her something free. But that's just my mentality. But
Right,
I know this generation is a little bit different, and people are
right.
justified. Nobody deserves to die. I don't care who you are. Should nobody deserve to die? Everybody needs to go home and make it home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's going on in your world? Wow.
Well, I'm gonna have to say, I just did some research, and what got me curious on about what Melanie was just talking about with the Hilton, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not telling me the reason why. It's really
Probably
not.
good economy.
Right. Low
Let's keep
bookings.
it a bug. It's probably the economy,
Jackson doesn't
and
have
maybe
enough
that.
venues for the Hilton to really be booked out. We don't have enough business symposiums or conferences because years ago, Hilton was booked out for majority of their business conferences, business symposiums. So a lot of people don't bring that type of business to Jackson, one, because of the crime, and it's not a lot to do here as well.
No.
Besides eating, there are a lot of places to eat, but as far as leisure activity
Hmm.
for people to conduct business, there isn't. It's not a lot. It's not vast. So as sales begin to go down, and from what I saw, the Hilton has multiple owners, so it's not just one owner; it's multiple
Mm,
owners. So
mm.
if there are no profits being made when you have multiple hands in a pot, then they're not going to want to keep the property because the property is worth money, but it has to make money as well. Cara can attest to that because she used to be in hotel management. It's all about booking and selling out the rooms.
Yeah, well, I agree. I definitely agree. I hate that. I mean, but I'm gonna be honest. The hotel that I used to prior work to, they went out of business. Just where we are with this economy and everything changing, people not traveling or staying in, group settings anymore. So yeah,
Plus, there's a lot of competition in surrounding areas too with Hilton.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree.
And well, that's the only thing I really piggyback off of about the hotel because that's when you start talking about the economy, it's always hits me kind of hard because everything going up, especially since you have children and stuff. And
That's
one of them just graduated from high school, going to college. So I'm like, oh, that's another bill. So
yeah. The bill gets larger.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so so I'll be mindful of stuff like that.
Got
I
to
guess that's gonna be
definitely.
another topic. Hey, I guess that can be another topic we talk about. What else is closing down in Jackson? Because a lot of stuff is moving out of Jackson.
A lot of things are moving out, but then you have an investor here that's been buying up a lot of the item, a lot of the properties in Mississippi. I think his name is David. I can't remember his last name, but he has bought a substantial amount of property all over
Okay.
Mississippi.
Mm.
We'll see what they do with it. I'm
Well,
That's
curious to
all you
see
can do.
if it
See.
will stay a thriving hotel and see what he does differently than what has been done.
okay, okay. Well, I'm ready to get started on this good topic right here that Miss
I
Cora.
know.
Uh huh.
Yeah, false
You know,
narrative, huh?
yeah, of course, me being the gentleman I am, I'm gonna let Cora start it off
You always letting it start it off, huh? Okay.
because
False
I'm a
narrative.
gentleman first.
What you say?
Gentleman first.
Oh,
You
gentlemen.
said
Well, thank
gentleman
you for
first,
being
so
a
you
gentleman.
gotta go. You gotta go. You
I'm
said it.
thinking gentleman, so no.
He's thinking it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When people
Yeah.
believe what is it? When people believe the version that isn't true, pretty much different
Mm.
perception and stuff.
Yes,
Yes.
How many times do we fall into this subject with people? Hmm.
a lot.
Yeah, definitely a lot. I feel like a lot of times when people don't understand their version because people been talking because of gossip, they want to start the topic off of comparison with their person. To me, I feel like a lot of times when you dealing with relationships with people and you like, let's just say friendship, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's envy, who's jealous, who's being comparative of your life. And when they don't know like who they are, then they'll start this false narrative of the person that
Hmm.
they have envy, jealous, and all that. So I hate that, but that's where we are in life sometimes, right?
Mm.
For instance, I'm just gonna go back for college. When you start going to college your freshman year, right? You don't know nobody. Okay. Everybody moving in had their parents. Unfortunately, I didn't have my parents moving in. So I was the young lady with short hair, moving all my stuff from the car, and it was already talked about that my parents didn't show up. Okay. Didn't know the
Hmm.
reason why, didn't know the situation why, right? So then it became a false narrative of her parent ain't there, but you don't know why the situation. I know
Mm.
why, and people who know me know why. You know what I'm saying? So that's the start of conversation of gossip, right? Oh well, Cara is this, Cara is that. And that's how we get into the situation when people don't want to tell the truth of the person. And I hate that, but unfortunately, it's life, right? And it works also in the aspect of becoming who you are in womanhood too,
Mm.
right? Or
Mm-hmm.
manhood. I could say manhood too. The stigma that people have on you. I could walk in the room, right? You don't know me, right? Mel know me. Well, you getting to know me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I walk in with confidence, right? But you be like, well, she kind of standoffish. That's that tone you set right there, where this opinion of me, you don't know me, getting to know me. Because if you get to know me, well, she is a confident person, but she's very nice. You know what I'm saying? And getting to know a person, that's not a problem. But oftentimes, we always have people, which I call haters, who want to tell the opposite story of who you are. So, I mean, I'll start right there. I'm gonna let Mill jump in with me on this because I know she like, yes, yes. And Walter, you gonna be like, okay.
Well, I will agree with you. I think a lot of people they'll run. This is how I feel. I think people run with someone else's narrative because they already may have hidden animosities towards you. And they were always looking for something bad to hear about you because they hadn't seen it or heard it otherwise. So once one person comes in and has something in bad, and that bad could be very, of course, very false, and to one, defame your character because whoever left knew that whatever the problem was, it was probably them and not you. So they have to form a smear campaign against you so that they still look good in the light and to dim your light or discredit your character when they were the one who was flawed. And I'm speaking on it from past experiences that I've had before. But I think my main question is the person who is listening. If you've never, this is where you got to use logic when you hear people talking. And if you know of a person, when you hear something, instead of going with what is being said, and especially if it defames the person's character, if it is a large character flaw, or as we say, bad gossip or bad news, then why is it that they're not coming back and say, I would like to ask you a question. I heard this about you. Is that true? Instead of running with what was heard.
Mm.
Because when you run with something that's heard, then you're just as guilty as the person that told you the information. And that
Mm.
means you have aided and abetted in defaming that person's character. And I think a lot of people don't realize that defamation of character is suable. You can sue somebody over defamation of character, especially if that person is a reputable business owner, if that person has a reputable reputation where their reputation is their livelihood. If that goes back to their paycheck, their name goes back to their paycheck, then they have the right to sue you because now they have taken hits against that. And some people may lose out on job opportunities or people hiring
Mm.
them or using them for whatever their skill set is because someone started a nasty rumor and then other people ran with it. So I'm big on not partaking in gossip and slander because of that.
Mm.
Because you never know, you whispering somebody else's gossip in another person's ear and it hurts their reputation, then you're part of the problem. But we know that it is something that is done, very quite often. And especially if a person is private, if they have a private life and they don't show a lot of details, then people want to know because they want to know what you're doing, how you moving.
Mm.
A lot of people pocket watch the person. Well, how they make this happen? Or I wonder who giving them the money. I know they not making all that money. I know she not making this. Oh, it's got to be somebody funding her, whatever, whatever, or his, whatever, whatever. So a lot of rumors of gossip come with people actually being too nosy, minding the business that doesn't pay them.
You know what? Based on some of the things you just said, I do want to add on to that. If people is silenced, like is silence a sign of strength when false narratives spread, or does staying quiet allow the lie to grow?
I,
Sometimes
yeah, That's a good question.
because sometimes some people want to engage. The minute they hear somebody talking about it, they want to go engage it. But then you got the other people, they just quiet, don't say anything. Because sometimes they feel like I don't have to say anything because I know it's not true. So
I'm
it's being go ahead.
Nah, I'm not. You know what? I'm gonna disagree just a little bit.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna do younger car to car now. Okay,
Okay.
younger car probably be silent, won't say anything. But I feel like you're complacent when you are silent. Because here's the thing: if are
Mm.
we friends, right? Are
Hmm.
we friends or we're family members, right? And you know each other, and you here come a stranger or supposed to be friend talking about a family member or yourself, right? Why
Mm.
am I gonna be quiet? Because I'm jumping into that. Here's the thing: I'm gonna tell you, the young me, I probably would have been quiet. You know what I'm saying? Hell, I probably would have been talking too. Because I didn't know no better. The
Mm.
older car,
Okay.
hey, what? Do you know that person? Hey, I bet if you get to know that person, you'll have a different perspective of that person. But I'm gonna stop you right there. This person's not here to defend themselves. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think we need to have this conversation.
That
Okay.
part.
All right. So let's mind the business that pays us. Because I'm gonna mind my business, you're gonna mind your business, and you have a blessed day. See, that's the more mature. So we gotta go back to emotional maturity, right? Young version,
True.
we all we know is the gossip. We don't know no better. Ain't nobody taught us that form of hey, why are you talking about somebody? Or knowing what Mel just said, defamation. You can get sued for that. We didn't know that when we was young. We just thought gossip. Well, let me tell you about such and such. Because I have been guilty of that. And the older I got, I had to go to one of my friends and say, "Girl, I'm sorry. I entertained the conversation. I'm sorry. I was wrong." But that's me. So you going back to your question, should you be silent? Absolutely fucking not. No,
Mm-mm.
Mm.
no, no, absolutely not.
But most people may be silent because they don't want to be guilty for being present and engaging. I mean,
Mm.
everybody has free will. If there's a gossip session going on, then you also have free will to walk out, remove yourself from that space. So I mean, I guess it depends on the person's character as well. I mean, because it's until you experience defamation of character and slander, then you definitely move differently when you start hearing things of such. And I'll give an example. I have, being a hairstylist, I have people that come in that talk about other hairstylists. And the first thing I'm
Mm.
like, hey, that was your experience. I'm sorry you had the experience, but I don't discuss other hairstylists. Because the last thing I need someone to do is say, well, Melody
You
said
said.
that. Right. This is what she said. No, I'm not even going to engage in it. Hey, I don't discuss other people here. Whatever your experience is, then we can either fix it or I'm sorry you had that experience. I listen. As I say, we listen, we don't judge. I listen and I don't repeat. And then I don't give you the room to tell me the negatives. At all. Because I'm pretty sure if someone talks about you or another person, they will discuss you just as easy as they're discussing the next person. So
That
when you
part.
engage in it, you got to be mindful. Gossip has no name on it. The tables do turn in gossip. Well, she was there. What she said, da 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 da, and then that's how things get misconstrued, and then your words get twisted, and then now we have, as you see, gossip fights, because you do have a lot of those. And then a
Mm.
lot of times people get hurt because someone twisted someone else's words and made it a lie. It may not have been what they said, but the words were twisted because of their own inner feelings that they have towards that person. And in most cases, why do people gossip? Why do people run false narratives? Because they have some negative feelings that's unresolved. And instead of them resolving the feelings, then the first thing they do is try to slander them, make them look bad.
Yeah, but
Mm.
then also think about they have some type of. I'm gonna go back to say some trauma, right? Hear me going to
Mm.
giving people a little grace because think about it.
Okay.
If somebody's talking about you, they either dealing with insecurities, so
Mm.
social performance. You
Mm.
can also
Okay.
have a manipulator, and
True.
I call it. Well, as I was looking at researching some of this thing, they call it indirect aggression because you got to look at
Mm.
the cause and root of things.
Okay.
Why are they talking about you in this specific manner, right? So they be like, give an example. Melody, oh, she thinks she's better than somebody. Okay. So let's go back to the root cause. She thinks she's better. So what in you think she's better? What do you feel like you can't do what she does? Right? Or I'm gonna give you an example as Walt. Walt is a smart individual. He just think he could just take over the media world. Okay, why did you think that way? Because you haven't tried it. See, it's a cause and root, cause and effect of things to me. And there's
Mm,
always a root issue behind somebody talking about you.
Okay. So what
Okay.
I hear from insecurity is doubt, self doubt, and then what I hear from the other one was fear, fear of
Exactly.
yeah.
mm,
Okay. So well, that I mean that makes sense, but the messiness of it, I mean, to me that doesn't make sense. But I understand
So
people.
psychology said it's called correlation bonding. It shapes the target through comparison and judgment. That's what psychology says.
Mm,
So it's something about that person they're talking about is related to them so they can share the judgment and the comparison of that person. That's what
okay.
psychology says.
mm. Okay.
So would the root to that be the person actually losing control in whatever the maybe conversation dynamic or the relational dynamic with that person? They felt like they lost some type of power or control, and now that's their way of controlling the narrative by what you just said. What was the
Yeah,
word? What was the term again?
it's called correlation bonding.
Mm.
Because
Hmm.
think about it, if you losing control, what about we go back a little bit further from their upbringing?
Mm.
See,
Okay. I see. I
you
see where you're
see?
going with that.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So not it's I don't now that I'm self aware. I mean, as we say, I go to therapy. I start looking stuff a little bit different now. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I am researching and
Mm.
learning because what's the cause and root of why people think the way they think? And it's guess what? It's not directed towards you. It's something within themselves that they got to work.
Okay. I mean,
But while I was gonna ask you something, as a man, do
Hmm.
y'all feel like it the same happened to you with the judgment, comparison, the coalition bonding, the gossip? Let's talk about it.
I would like to say, yeah, because I think we face with a lot of things just like y'all face with, like, different people being insecurity, you come up to and saying like you just said, okay, I want to take over this. So what make you think you can take over this? But also we run into like more hate, like if you like in that circle, so to speak. Okay, he think he can just come down here and just take care of this, just step in our lane to try to do this better than us,
mm,
but then you have a lot of people turn your back on them. I mean on you and all that stuff. So like let me give you an example. We're gonna talk about sports. So like you have a transfer student coming in and they already good, play sports and all
mm-hmm.
this stuff like this, right? But then they coming in, okay, he think he's gonna take over this team. This is my team. So, like you said, insecurity, instead of, we all teammates now trying to lift each other up. Okay, what can you do better than me? Maybe I can I can learn from you just like you can learn from me, right? But now you're not coming in here to take my spot. So it's more like a competitive. Like we
Right.
always face some like more of competitive, so to speak. When we come in, like when we come inside the room or something like this, right? And we already have our mindset, okay, we're gonna do better than this next person right here, especially if you coming in from a different school or something like that. You already got a chip on your shoulder, so to speak. So might be
Okay.
coming, the person might be coming there being transferred. You know what? I'm coming with the mindset I'm gonna take over this position. This is gonna be my team. And the other person saying, no, you're not gonna take over. This is my team. So they bumping heads right from the start. So I see a lot of that going on.
So just hearing it, to me, I think the problem would be not forming healthy alliance. Because if you're on the same team, then you are allies, not foes. Due
True.
to, well, we can go back to ego. Ego will cause you to try to overpower um, teammates because instead of you seeing it as a team, it's more of an I thing. So I
Yeah.
guess that kind of goes back to the reason why someone would slander you as well, because it could be so many different reasons, internal things with the person who actually is performing the gossip or the slander or defamation of character.
Well, it's just like when I know this is the old basketball thing. Just like when Kobe and Shaq got into it, so to speak, they argued and make it pub and stuff like this, right? And Kobe went past the ball, and Shaq told him it's no I in team, but it's an ME in that motherfucker. That's what told. That's what.
He did. He
That's what.
did. He did,
Yeah, that's
though.
what Kobe
Yeah.
said. And Shaq again. Shaq was on the Lakers team. He was already the most dominant coming from Orlando and stuff. Now this rookie coming in 2 years in the league. Now he trying to take over the team and stuff. Shaq didn't want to do that. No, this is my team. Everything goes through me and all that stuff. But you had somebody like Phil Jackson say, "Hey, I'm the Zen master. Y'all gotta drop the egos. Hey," and I think he told Kobe, "Hey, this is what you need to do. We gotta get the guy ready for the playoffs. So feed him the ball. We gotta get him prepared for the playoffs and stuff. So like you said, you gotta feed his ego to get his mind right for the playoffs. And so yeah, like you said, it's competitive. It's all about ego.
So
And I,
comparison is more like spout power struggle. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Carl.
no, I was gonna say, now that we're adults, right? I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we just need to communicate. If we communicate effectively, a lot of these egos, a lot of the stabbing the bag, a lot of just having to sit down and telling them what the issue is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna piggyback off of just a little bit. If you're not in a space to meet people where they are, if you growing and they still stagnant, it's gonna be hard to have that conversation, right? But if we at the same level of growth, then we can have that conversation. But just like you just gave the scenario of Kobe and Shaq, Shaq been playing longer than Kobe. Kobe come in, taking over the ego, so they couldn't even have a conversation. But as he, continued to be in the
Mm.
league, I think they became good friends, right? Because they got
Right.
to know one another, right? And that's the problem. Get to know your opponent.
Well, they
Mm.
actually weren't opponents; they were teammates,
Yeah,
allies.
yeah,
So I think the thing is people really have to accept the differences of others and realize that we are different. The way you would do something, the way Cara does something, is not how
Mm.
Melody do or execute, and is not the way that Walter executes either. So
Mm.
I think that is the challenge of understanding the differences. And sometimes, as we say, agree to disagree, sometimes you have to agree to disagree because everybody is not the same, nor do they think the same. What's the statement where it says you can have four children raised in the same house and each child will gets a different parent, but
Mm.
they have the
absolutely,
same parent and
absolutely.
also get a different experience. So it's the same way in adulthood as well. So a lot of people, and I've been around people like, well, me and Cara have conversations. It's like common sense is not so common because the way she would do something somebody else may not do, and we question like, well, why in the heck did they do it this way? But that is their thought process. So we have to learn to understand or want to understand because you got to want to listen in order to receive to even gain an understanding. And half of the time is a lot of people aren't listening. I'm guilty at times depending on if it's a heated or detailed conversation. Sometimes we listen to respond instead of fully listening to understand. So sometimes we have to pause to not respond and give the person the opportunity. I can't say I have been guilty of that numerous of times. Because sometimes
Mm.
you're sometimes not communicating in a timely fashion. You bottle up what you want to say, and then we talked about in a podcast before that explosive energy. You just want to
Mm.
burst and say everything and be heard, but that's not, to be honest, that's not a healthy form of communication either. So I agree with you, Cara. It's all about communicating, but a lot of adults are still learning how to communicate. And part of communicating is listening, being a great listener as well.
True. That's definitely true. I agree.
I think one of the things I do as far as like communicating,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think if somebody send me something and someone told me Friday, I reacted too fast. They sent me something I didn't like it, so I immediately reacted, right? That wasn't necessarily the best thing. So they said, you react too fast. You need to take 5 minutes to think about it. Because I ended up sending 3 emails and they said like Well, see, you could have just sent one email,
That's
but
true.
you reacted too fast. So like you said, communication is one of the issues, but also how you communicate. You gotta elaborate how you communicate too, because if you communicate too fast, jump the gun and say something you can't take back. And
Yeah.
and then again, if you start talking and reacting too fast, and you might not have all your facts correct or have all your facts in order, and you probably jump the gun and say, "Well, this is what happened," and now you have to be defensive. Well, I didn't know this was gonna happen. First thing I say, "Well, you acted too fast. Now I know how you really thinking about me because you responded too quick." So sometimes how you react and how fast you react, that can be something in communication as well. So,
I
so
agree
I
with
just
that. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially if
Right.
it's written communication. Sometimes we do respond a little too quickly. And sometimes we might be scheming through what we're reading and not seeing it correctly. And then we go back and realize we skipped a couple words and our response got a little too fiery because of our lack thereof. So I can be guilty of that. So normally when I receive email or text communication, sometimes I don't respond immediately because
yeah,
in most
yeah,
cases
just
you rushing, especially if you multitasking. Things can be easily missed or misconveyed.
I
because
agree.
some people would use that to their advantage. I just know if I send this like this, they're gonna respond like this, and then I can just capitalize off of that.
That's
And
true.
like you said, some people start to get to know you. But then I have a friend. He said he can be real upset doing something right now, but you can't tell, just how his demeanor is and stuff. Some people get quiet and start responding a certain way. And then, you have some people that know how to just, what, I'm going to dial it back. Wait till all my information come in. Then I'm going to react off of that. But then again, you got some people, the first 2 sentences go by. I'm responding back now. He said so, but they're not reading the whole thing.
Hmm.
And then once they read the whole thing, they say, okay, then I see where he's coming from now. I don't have to respond back to this because he already answered at the bottom of the email. And so, but
Do
like you
y'all
said,
think
communication.
communication is very important? Do y'all feel like since we live in the social media area, right? Do
Hmm.
y'all believe in social media as our subject matter, saying when people believe the version of you that isn't true, what we put on social media can also implement things?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's why I try not to. I normally post pictures, or mine is just posting pictures, and I keep my captions very simple or very positive. And when I post, I may post, achievements, family, and that way you can't really read much into it. It may be as celebrating out with the family or like movie time or something like that. I try not to give people enough to try to read into or think more of. I've never been a person, I've never posted vehicles, houses. So because I don't want to create a space where it gives people the opportunity to be envious or jealous of me. So even with posting pictures, I think I just started posting like body pictures, and it's normally face front. Normally it would be from the waist up if I posted because I didn't want a certain perception. I wanted to keep it very simple and modest. But everybody does not post that. So a lot of people post their bling blings, they new handbags, they new cars, trips, rented whips, new shoes, things like that. And I feel like when you post, especially if it's like high dollar material things, then it opens the doorway for so many things.
You remind me when Bow Wow got busted on the airplane when he posted that he was flying first class, but then the person busting him out like he's on the plane, he's on the seat next to me. He flying coach. So but you know what? That's what people use social media for. They use social media for, they can build an opinion about without even actually knowing you. Sometimes you gotta be careful on how you post on social media.
Hmm.
Like you said, you just posted that different stuff, but then I guarantee you somebody is out there forming an opinion about you and they don't even know you, had
That's true.
never met you. And
That's true.
so people do that all the time, especially on social media platforms. But like you say, you got to be careful. That's the reason why you see some people. I'm not posting anything for a month. I'm just taking a vacation for it. And but then you got some people, they post every day. They
They
post their
live.
status. They go into the mailbox, posting what they wearing to the mailbox. I'm just saying. I'm just saying though. But I mean, that's how. I mean, that's how it is. And like you said, that's how somebody they look forward to that because they feel like social media is giving them that type of status. And
Yes.
because but before then, before social media, wasn't nobody posting anything. They were just showing up, talk about it and stuff. But social media gives the people the opportunity to reach more people and don't leave out. Like I still know people that never left out Mississippi,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
and
I
so
think social media has been now it has changed over the years. Initially, it was just posts. It was not, pictures, but over time when people realized that I can do photo shoots the same as celebrities or I can be in places similar to it, I think that is when social media statuses and posts began to change. Before that, it was kind of just plain. I know for me, it was almost like a mini diary, writing poetry or my thoughts for the day. Um, and it over time it has evolved into something totally different, and it's now the new wave or form of the telephone, because before we had cell phones we actually had to rotary dial our friends or touch dial and talk to them over the phone. So once cell phones came into play, and then that's when social media shifted. So that's why socializing and communication has changed over time as well, because we had no other choice but to communicate in healthier ways back then before the devices started coming into play. And then when you have social media, now I don't have to pick up the phone to spout something out with you, or I could take it straight to social media. And if it's a sneak diss, I could take it straight to social media and somebody in our circle is gonna see it. Or if it's shade or anything like that, it's not respectfully, I'm gonna dial that number and say, hey, can we talk? I'm feeling a way about something. So social media has changed a lot of things in not positive ways, negative ways, I think.
I feel
Because you
like
remember
social
back in the
media.
day when people had animosity, they would meet up on the corner. Meet me on the corner. Let's talk. If it wasn't to talk, then we duked it out. May the best man or woman win, and nobody's gonna
Facts.
jump into this fight until they hash it out. So you gonna fight, and guess what? If I lose, we're gonna come back because we're squaring up tomorrow, and I want another session, and you gonna fight again. Some people fight again to each other till they got tired. Then after a while, what they form? A truce, because they tired of fighting. But now
yeah.
we don't have that anymore. I remember we used to huddle up and let them fight it out. Since they both got beef with each other, let them hash it out, and nobody else is gonna jump in it. We don't have that anymore.
Whoever get beat up worse, they gonna get something.
It ain't
If it's
even
not
Yeah.
getting beat up anymore.
And
if it's
you
not
just have to take
already
that
there with
leak.
them,
Take that leak
yeah.
and be like, "Well, I got beat up with that black eye or whatever."
That
Okay.
part.
See, I'm just saying. Well, now with social media, I think people create a narrative or story they want people to see, right? And then the other
Mm.
part is like going back to what you were saying. If somebody fighting, everything's on camera. If somebody get hurt or beat, everything's on camera. So what's subliminal? Now you have memes, you have quotes as subliminals instead of like you said, picking up the phone and say, "Hey, can we talk?" Or make sure you post it so the other person can see it instead of just adding at the person. Or sometimes social media people they do be adding people. They do. They put that name down. I ain't gonna lie, in my little messy ways, I would at you. I would. I would.
Mm.
I don't do it no more. See now I got something to lose. I'm calling the cops. I ain't finna fight nobody. Cause here you forgot Carrie over here, and I got too much to lose. So I'm not gonna put myself in a situation when I know we can communicate about. Cause a lot of stuff is telephone. You say she say stuff, or the
Mm.
assume of what this person said. Okay, so instead of reacting. hey, let's react and picking up the phone and talking instead of playing telephone or she said he said this. Like we gotta stop that. We gotta be adults. But that's for the mature audience. That's
So,
for the very mature audience. Because we still got some toxic audience,
well, that's true. That's true.
ducking and
I
booking.
I was gonna say, what about the subliminals? When you relate, you've never, you got some people who never had a conversation with a person and have
Mm,
animosity and run a story, and they never step foot 2 feet in front of the person. You
But that's
just
because of what
formed.
somebody else said. That's their telephone. Or what somebody said or the assumption. Remember I just said the assumption? See,
mm,
Mhm.
and that's it. That goes back to what we got going on in terms. Like something within childhood to teenage to adulthood is still playing into your heart, in your life. That we got to fix
mm,
up.
You know what? Here's an example of, and this young lady, I respected her for doing that, even though some people said it was messy. But she had a question. She heard something. She had a question. She
Okay.
booked an appointment. She got her hair done. And she asked her question. She said, I had no other way to, kid you not. She said, I didn't want to call you because I don't have your number. Nobody in my circle have your number. So if I got your number and called you, then she said, I felt like that'll be foul. She said, so I'm gonna bless you and we're gonna have a conversation.
hmm.
Hmm.
That was
That was
mature of
And
her.
it was
it
it
was
was
that
woman to
was
woman.
mature.
It was no animosity. We had an adult conversation, and whatever whatever she was disgruntled about, she spoke it, and we talked 1-on-1. And at the end of the hair appointment, all misunderstanding was clear. So I had
But
a
then my
newfound
question
respect
would be
for.
like, so as an adult, whatever you heard, you took the time out to find me to book an appointment to bless me and then have the conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Instead of you book me, with my place of business. That is a way of communication, right? So you wanted me to touch my head knowing that I had some type of ill feeling about you when you could just walk in my facility and also say, "Hey, can we talk?" You know what I'm saying? I think I'm just a little bit baffled. I'm glad it worked out that way because that would have been a little bit different in my messier days, mature days where you were, and that time, that's good because it just baffled me that somebody listened to something that they don't. Did you know that person at all?
Mm-mm.
Exactly.
Mm.
That's why I said it goes back to something childhood and then to teenager to adult. You don't know me from Adam and Eve, but you heard something, right? Then you took it upon yourself to book the appointment to bless me. I appreciate that. And then we had the conversation.
Well, she said in her mind that was the closest way she could get to me without trying to pull up on me on the street. Because pulling up on me on the street, it
But
probably would
but
have
then it goes back
did.
to what
Pull up.
yeah, but it's still just like you don't know me. I don't know you. So why would something be said? Because I don't even do you see the whole consist I don't know you.
Well,
You don't know me.
of course there was a middle man. So
So did the middleman know
Mm.
you or that person?
yes.
Oh, well, that's it. That's okay. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get the context clue of the
Okay.
whole story because it wasn't making sense to me. Because I thought this person didn't even know you at all.
Uh
And then, so you're talking about the bill. What? Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, that makes more
oh,
sense. Ooh.
I have a
Our people.
question.
Yeah.
I have a question. This is a good question. Why do people often believe the worst version of someone before hearing the full truth?
because they was
Back.
waiting on something. They was waiting on bad. They've been hearing good. They've been waiting on the bad. I knew it was something wrong with her. I knew it was
Mm.
something wrong with him.
Mhm.
I knew it wasn't all quite right. That's because they were looking for something.
Mm.
What does it say that people are looking for spots and wrinkles? They're not looking for good character, good morals anymore. They are looking for spots and wrinkles. So they looking. Once they find that spot, they're gonna run with it.
So basically, what you're saying is this goes back to like what we previously talked about. They not there to support you. They're just there surveying you, just watching you. They're not there to
Yeah.
support you. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So,
I, I'm going to keep saying indirect aggression. Like, they got some issues going on with themselves. Like, I'm
mm.
going to stand on the hill with that. Nominate you
Well,
sometime. We say
it
that
goes
all the
back to
time.
yeah.
But I can't, like, I don't wake up thinking about other people. I got my own shit I gotta deal with. Why would I think about somebody else? I
I
want to
think
support
they
people
may
and love
have enough.
people and be like, yes, but I don't want to think about nobody else. I got too much shit going on in my life. Let me worry
Some
about
people
what
don't
watermelon
have
doing.
enough going on in their life, so they wake up looking for something new, a new topic, a new subject
Yeah.
to talk about.
Thank God for grace, baby, because
I mean,
I'm
some
just
people
saying.
thrive. That is the height of their day to talk about other people. Well, just let's be real. You got some people love they the
Chaos.
gossip of the town. So
Yep. They like chaos. They like to
you
be
Just
in
know
other people's
what
shit.
they call her,
Yeah.
the news lady. She know everybody business. We had that one neighbor that knew everybody business. Now she was sitting on the porch rocking
like
day to
being
day.
center of attention. Oh, I got all the good gossip. Come talk to me.
Yes.
So that's
So
But
basically.
you really are manipulated if you think about it. That's manipulation.
Mm,
if you
yeah.
if you slandering people's name, and that is manipulative. It's deceit. Is In order to be manipulative, you have to be deceitful.
Okay. Okay.
In order to twist the story, you have to have mastered deceit, being deceitful and being believable. So that's part of being deceitful.
I
So
say.
everybody's not good at lying. So you got to make the story believable.
Mm,
Then you should be a
yeah.
writer.
They missed their calling. They should have
They
been
missed
a
their call.
writer or
You should be a
a
writer.
storyteller. You're right.
Okay.
So
Oh man. Well, ladies, that was a good topic right there.
It was. It
Excellent
really
topic.
was. I appreciate that. I mean, the dialogue. But as you know, we got to say one final thing to our audience. When people believe the
Mm.
version of you that isn't true, what's one word that you will tell them to listen to?
Be
mm,
transparent.
Mm,
Yep. Be transparent.
you thinking, man?
one word, yeah, because a
One
lot of
word.
words came to my head. I got like five different words.
Ah,
It
okay,
was
let me
like the
say.
dictionary.
I know, I know,
One
I know,
word.
I know. She like, okay, mine's gonna be communication, but in parentheses, mind the business that pays you.
Okay. I think my
I
vigilant.
get.
Vigilant. In order to
Oh.
know what you have to be vigilant. You have to see. You got to take the rose colored glasses off in order to see what is what. And you got to use discernment too. Ask about the source who's delivering the resource. What is their character like? What's their track
Mm.
record like before you receive information from just anybody?
Okay. Okay. I like it. Like it. Like it. Well, ladies, that was a good one today. Real good one. As we do this more and more, we come up with some great topics, have some good dialogue. And so I'm going to end it right there. This has been Don't Spill the Tea, Spill the Truth. I'm Walt J alongside Melody and Carver. Remember, just because a story is loud doesn't make it true. Protect your character, question the narrative, and we'll see you next time. All right. That's a wrap. So what y'all think?
That's a good topic.
That was a good topic. You didn't stop, yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a good topic.
I'm going to stop in there.
I think, I mean, yeah,